Hey guys, it's Simon. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Wednesday, November 23rd, 2022, as some may like to say, Thanksgiving Eve. And we're here to talk about the Thanksgiving edition, as they called it, of AEW Dynamite. Honestly, other than like the Acclaimed thing being a nothing segment, and then we'll get into my opinions of the six-man tag. Other than that, I thought everything else on the show was pretty good. Well, the Jade thing was also a nothing segment as well. But for the most part, I thought this was a really good episode. Strong, built up a couple of things, but a really good episode of AEW Dynamite with a really good main event. But it was like, are we really, as far as the main event goes, Jericho defending against Ishii, did anybody go into this show? And I know some probably go, I did. But did anybody go into this thinking that Ishii could win? That Ishii was going to defeat Jericho for the title? I mean, I didn't. I didn't think it when they announced it on Saturday. But Luke, what's going on? How are you doing? What do you think of Dynamite?
What's going on? I'm doing pretty good. And as far as Dynamite, I kind of feel like it started off a little slow and then it went on strong.
Yes,
If that makes sense.
that does make sense.
Like it started off a little slow. I was like, some of the stuff that they're doing on the show didn't really make any sense and meant kind of nothing.
Mhm.
But like towards the end, it went strong.
Like I saw a lot of people didn't like the Orange Cassidy Jake Hager match. They said it was kind of just bland or whatever. But I'm like, it was okay for what it was. Also, I will say that world title eliminator tournament thing had no heat on it. And it did not feel like Ricky Starks just became number one contender. It just felt like, Ricky Starks won a random match against Ethan Page. I'm just going to say that too. But good match, though. I will say, I'm not taking anything away from the match. I really enjoyed the match and the way they played off of Ricky's injuries and so forth. But we'll get into all that here in a moment. I want to say thank you if you are watching live, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited. Or if you're watching or listening later, whether that's youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited or podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. If you are watching live, I want to say thank you for joining us, and you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. And remember, it can be anybody's Amazon Prime, whether it's yours or your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your grandma, your auntie, your uncle, anybody's Amazon Prime account. You just take that Amazon Prime account, you take that Twitch account, you link them together, bada bing, bada boom, you're Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and they always give you one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. And let me look something up really fast. Because remember, you get a bunch of free games with your Prime Gaming subscription. And you only got another week to claim all those. Prime Gaming. And they're going to be putting out a bunch of new games coming up next week. So you only got a little bit longer to claim these free games. And some of the free games you can claim right now are... Why is the list not popping up? Here we go. Some of the free games you can claim are Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition, great game. Facility 47 is a really fun game. WRC Rally Racing 9, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, The Last Day of June, which is a very interesting game from 505 Games. And there's a couple others as well. So even if you don't want to subscribe to us, use that Prime Gaming to get yourself some free video games on your computer. But on the flip side, if you're watching on YouTube, you can help us out over there by becoming a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access to podcast episodes, early access to non-news videos, and so much more. If you saw yesterday, I put up my basically graphics tutorial on how I created my AEW full gear graphics. But if you're a Patreon subscriber, well, you also get access to the Photoshop file that I used in that tutorial, plus all of the asset files as well that were used in that video. And then next week, I'll have my Survivor Series one coming out. That's not only Photoshop, but mainly After Effects as well. So we have that nobody else gives you. What other wrestling YouTube channel is creating their own custom graphics and then also teaching you how to create those graphics yourself, giving you the access to the files that they created. Nobody. That's what sets us apart. Nobody else does that because they just take the images straight from AEW. They just take the images straight from WWE. Not trying to throw shade on anybody, but we do the work and create our own shit. But with that, also remember to head over to the Epic Game Store. What the frick? Wrong button again. I got to remap that button. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether that's a new game, an old game, a free game, or you're getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, Fall Guys, or Rumbleverse, use our code right here, PW Unlimited at checkout on all Epic Games and Epic Game Store purchases to support us at no extra cost. Remember, that's code PWU NLIMITED at checkout, and you'll be supporting us right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. But as far as Dynamite does go, this opening segment was awesome. Usually Dynamite doesn't open with a talking segment, but this week it did, and it did in a fantastic way. Dynamite opened with Excalibur welcoming us to the show alongside Taz and Tony Schiavone. They recapped the main event from Full Gear, and Regal was already in the ring. William Regal said that the fans will have to wait until next week to hear from the new champion MJF, as he not only doesn't want to come to Chicago, but he's on set of a major motion picture. And you may ask, what? What movie is he filming? He's going to be in that movie, The Iron Claw, about the Von Erich family. He is playing, quote unquote, the fake Von Erich, Lance Von Erich. So that movie is filming right now. He is on set filming his stuff. He said it on Saturday. If you didn't watch the press conference, then you would have heard him when he said, he did his whole shtick at the press conference that was kind of a jab at CM Punk, but not at the same time. Where he's like, now I got to go get on a private jet and fly out to a movie set. He's like, I'm doing way too much right now. But anyways, Regal's out there just telling us MJF's the new champion and he didn't want to come to Chicago when the music of Jon Moxley would hit. Moxley would come out through the crowd, as he always does. And then right as he was about to get into the ring, well, he gets into the ring. And right as he does, Danielson just comes right down, jumps in the ring, gets in his way. And he's like, don't do it. Don't hurt this man. I know what he did was wrong, was bad, but we've all done bad things in our life. Think about it. We've all done bad things. Trying to calm down Moxley. He then slaps Moxley at one point, trying to get him to calm down, which was a questionable tactic. And it's like, whoa, Brian, did you not see what this man did at the pay-per-view? You're defending him? You're defending him? Whatever. Danielson said that the struggles that Moxley has dealt with, his father suffered the same struggles. And Danielson never understood what his father was going through until Regal helped him understand that. Danielson mentioned that because of what Regal taught him, as far as those struggles do go, it helped him have a better relationship with his father the last 10 years of his father's life. He's like, just think, if there's somebody like this out there that can teach your daughter about the struggles you've gone through and how to cope with that and have a better relationship with you because of it. And I'm like, oh, God, you're bringing in his daughter, his 1-year-old, if even that daughter. Come on, guy. Come on. So eventually, Moxley gets in Regal's face, and he's bright red, just pissed off, and he's like, I got one request from you. Run. Run away and never come back. And Mox is just fuming, and he's like, he wants to say it, but he doesn't want to say, if you ever come back, I'm going to beat your ass. But because Mox is like, no, he's got a bad neck. He's got 2 lesions on the brain, and then don't touch him. So Regal jumps out of the ring and walks away. To me, this almost felt like, and I could be wrong thinking this, they were writing Regal off of television. Like either Regal's done or taking an extended break or something, and they needed a way to get him off TV. So basically the way is Moxley to say, okay, I'm not going to beat your ass. Leave. And if you come back, then I'll beat your ass. So this is maybe a way to get him off TV, but I would assume with MJF comes back next week, Regal should be there to explain his actions. I don't know. Very weird, very interesting. He walks away, and the crowd's chants is, na 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 na, na 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 na, hey, 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 goodbye. But what are your thoughts on this very, very good opening segment?
Yeah, I thought the segment was good. The only issue I had with it, because I guess AEW was making it seem like we'll hear from Regal and kind of like hear him like explain what he did on Saturday, but he didn't really explain what he did. All he was just jabbing Chicago. Then Moxley came out.
Yeah, because all they said was, we'll hear from Regal for the first time since Full Gear. And it's like, yeah, that is very vague. It wasn't like Regal explains his actions following Full Gear or anything. It was just, we'll hear from Regal. So they were vague with it, but I get it. Many people at least I can't get the word out. Expected him to tell his side of what happened, even though MJF wasn't there, or at least give some indications on why he may have did what he did.
Yeah, so like, how we won't know for a while why the reason Regal did it.
Exactly.
They're kind of like they're kind of just writing him off TV, saying like leave, don't come back, and we won't know for a while unless MJF says it.
Right. I mean, he might, but I think Regal did state, and I didn't write this down because I actually started the show. I didn't start late. I started like 10 minutes late and then finally caught up through commercials and stuff. But if I'm remembering correctly, he said something about like he contacted MJF recently or something about helping him, I think is what he said.
I think he said something about an email.
That's what I thought I heard. Yeah.
He said email, but didn't really like explain a little bit, but didn't really explain like the reasoning.
Yeah. Like he kind of said, like, I emailed Max. I got behind him, but never said why he ultimately chose to get behind him over staying with Moxley. Now the big question is, if Regal's either gone for a while or just not with the Blackpool Combat Club, can they still be called the Blackpool Combat Club? Because he was the Blackpool of the Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, I mean that's a good question right there. Another question is like, does Bryan Danielson like leave as well? Because he's still like with Regal, like he's still like trying to like defend him, even
Right.
though he kind of like backstabbed them in the back.
Yeah, a lot of interesting questions to be answered. And I like that. I wanted to know more, but I like that they left it open-ended. I just wish they would have told us a little bit, because they really didn't tell us anything. And that's what I have an issue with. They told us nothing. I wish they would have said a little bit, but left some still a little open-ended till MJF is able to be there next week.
The other thing is, why was Claudio and Wheeler Yuta not out there? I feel like they should have been out there.
I feel like, and this is just me spitballing, they don't have as much of a personal relationship with Regal. They're more in the group because of Danielson. And so, because Danielson has that extremely personal relationship, that's why he was the one out there defending Regal. Or at least stopping Moxley from attacking. Only thing I can think of.
I mean, I guess you could say like Wheeler Yuta could have that relationship with Regal because he was the one that kind of like convinced Yuta to like, I don't know. He was a big part of Wheeler Yuta joining Blackpool Combat Club.
I get that, but it's more of Wheeler Yuta's had a relationship with Regal for 5 months. They've had relationships with Regal for over a decade.
Yeah, that's true.
So we go to the back, and Renee Paquette is trying to get a word with Keith Lee. She asked him on his thoughts about what happened at Full Gear. She said, we've seen all the dissension building between you and Swerve. And Lee didn't get out one word before Swerve Strickland would walk up. He put his hands over the camera and just said, we need to talk. That was it. More open-ended stuff without any, to us, the fans, resolution or furthering the story with info. Weird that they did that in back-to-back segments. They had 2 segments where we wanted answers and we didn't get answers.
I feel like in this segment, it's just trying to like Swerve, just trying to like pep talk to Lee, trying to like convince him to come back, just like privately.
Right. So at our first match of the night, it was Orange Cassidy defending the AEW All Atlantic Championship against Jake Hager. And I feel like Hager was more, what's the word I'm looking for? Worried about the hat and the joke of all that than the actual match and fighting for the title, which took me out of the match a little bit. But the match itself was all right. Early on, Hager put Cassidy's glasses on and then had the purple bucket hat on as well. So Cassidy delivered his little kicks, which, if we know anything about Orange Cassidy, he doesn't do the little kicks without the glasses. He puts the glasses on, and then he gets into his mode, I guess you could say. Because that's how it was on the indies. When he would lose the glasses, he couldn't do the shtick. He couldn't do the little kicks or the light punches. So that was weird. Whatever. He got mowed down by Hager pretty quickly. Cassidy kicked off the hat and low-bridged Hager. He did a little bit of fighting when Menard and Parker would try to intervene as well. He then went for a dive on all three, and they caught him. Hager regained his composure, got the hat, and then went to a commercial break. Hager controlled the action during the entire break until Cassidy was knocked off the apron. Then there was a trust fall spot with the best friends, who Hager promptly steamrolled. Cassidy took out Garcia, Menard, and Parker on a dive before Hager caught a top rope DDT attempt, which Cassidy countered into a stun dog millionaire and a satellite DDT. Hager blocked an orange punch into a slam and slapped the ankle lock right on. Cassidy got the hold broke by ripping the hat off of Hager, who was more preoccupied on his hat getting pulled off than trying to win the match. Like, he's got this ankle lock on, no problem. He loses the hat and just lets it go. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, guy? You're more worried about the hat than winning the damn title. At this point, I'm like, just get this match over with. I don't care about this match anymore. Like, I liked the match leading up to that. But when he basically let go of the hold because of the hat, I was just over the match. Cassidy got a Cazadora roll up and retained the title. Nothing to it. Thoughts?
Even like the beginning of the match, like when he lost the hat, like even like everyone else in the Jericho Appreciation Society were like trying to get it back, and like Cassidy just made these guys look dumb.
Yes, very dumb.
He made these guys look dumb.
When people say that Orange Cassidy is nothing more than a comedy wrestler, Jake Hager came off as an even bigger comedy wrestler here tonight. And more, not even comedy wrestler, just a comedy geek. Like, they did Hager no favors in giving him any kind of credibility. He looked so stupid.
Same with, like, Daddy Magic and Angelo Parker.
Yeah, but that's kind of their thing to look dumb. Like, their thing is to be over the top and a little ridiculous. Hager, he's supposed to be the serious muscle. So I don't know.
Did you say the same thing about like Daniel Garcia though, as like a serious wrestler? They made him look like a comedy wrestler tonight as well.
True. I didn't really notice him that much though. I noticed him like once or twice, not too long. And maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention. I didn't really notice him. You're right though. I'm now thinking about it. You are right on that though. That he didn't come off as serious as he usually does either. So then, post-match, randomly, out would come QT Marshall and the Factory. QT's on the mic, and he's like, so, you just like handing out title shots, do ya? Turn my mic on. My mic's not working. Then all of a sudden, you see the screens behind him all go black. Then all of a sudden, all the lights turn off. We shoot up to the top of the ramp. There's Julia Hart. There's a red light. There's smoke. And she does this, and then she goes, hoo! And then it cuts the lights back on, and it's the House of Black in the ring. It's Malachi Black. It's Buddy Matthews. It's Brody King. They beat up the best friends, and then the Factory, who's all around the ring, go, yeah, you did our dirty work for us. And then they all get beat up as well. So House of Black is back. Brody King hit the Dante's Inferno on a security guard on the ramp. Malachi Black then said, members of the House of Black, rise! And then that was it. And then you got on commentary where they go, oh, are they going after anybody specific, or was that a challenge to the entire locker room?
It kind of feels like, and I could be wrong about this, it kind of makes me believe that they're leading to Malachi Black versus Orange Cassidy for the All-Atlantic belt.
Very possible, but here's the thing. I don't mind that. I would prefer, but it's kind of early because they have 7 matches. They face, which most likely going to be the Elite coming out of the best of 7 with the Trios Championships. And then we go into House of Black versus the Elite, which would be really good. But if he's going to beat, he could still do the Orange Cassidy thing before that. But I feel like if he's going to face Orange Cassidy for the belt, Black has to win. Like, I think Black is somebody where it's like, Hager, he loses to Orange Cassidy, whatever. The other people, they lose to Orange Cassidy, whatever. But if Malachi Black loses to Orange Cassidy, I feel like he'll lose some of his, I guess you could say, coolness and credibility. So I think if he faces Orange Cassidy, which is very possible, he should win the belt.
I also kind of feel like if he loses, it'll kind of like make him like lose his like seriousness as a wrestler.
Right.
And like I feel like if he's gonna lose, everybody's gonna complain.
Oh yeah.
Because people are already like, complaining about they weren't used properly the first time.
Well, he won it out.
Feel like he won it out, even though he made the video claiming he didn't. Which I'm not gonna go in. I'm not gonna go into that. Like,
right.
I'm not, but hopefully these guys get used properly this time.
Since Saturday in the chat says, "Oh, go for it."
Because like Malachi Black, he's one of my favorite wrestlers. I loved him since being in WWE. So from a fan point of view, hopefully they use him correctly.
Exactly. Since Saturday in the Twitch chat says, Malachi Black trying to do Damian Priest's catchphrase when he tells everyone to rise. Actually, Malachi Black has been using that before Judgment Day was a thing. So, because he's been, when they started the House of Black stuff, he would say, members of the House of Black, rise with us. So, if you want to say anything, Damian Priest stole that from Malachi Black. They recapped Jungle Boy, or should I say Jack Perry, against Luchasaurus in the cage match. Perry said that as much as he resents Luchasaurus, he's glad he shared that moment with him after everything that they've gone through. We then go into Ricky Starks and Ethan Page in the finals of the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament. And like I said, I thought the match itself, great match. These two worked great together. I loved the story they told in this match as far as playing off of the injuries to Ricky Starks and all that. But it's just, the match ends and I go, oh, it's Ricky Starks and MJF at Winter is Coming. Cool. If you didn't tell me this was a number 1 contenders match, I would have not known that this was a number 1 contenders match. There was no, like, commentary barely referenced it. There was no pomp and circumstance that much before the match started. It just honestly felt like two guys fighting on a Dynamite. It didn't have any specialness, any feel to it of the winner of this match is the next number 1 contender getting a world title shot. And no offense to Ricky Starks or Ethan Page for that matter. It's just that neither of these guys feel like legit contenders, and that's not even the right words to use. It's just like, we know MJF ain't dropping that belt in the next 3 weeks. So why should we even care about this tournament to crown a number 1 contender when it's just going to be a match no one's honestly going to care much about anyways? At least in the past, when we've had this Eliminator tournament, it's going up against, it's a big time wrestler like Hangman Page, for instance, going up against somebody that's, I guess you could say, been the champ for a while, to where you can go, oh, well, they've held that title long enough to where I think AEW would take the title off of them. But we know AEW, for the most part, doesn't like short title reigns when it's something planned out. Now, this last title reign of Moxley was only 50-something days, but that was kind of, they had to put the title on Moxley because of the CM Punk stuff, so this was an unplanned title reign. But for the most part, they like somewhat longer title reigns on their champions, so everybody knows MJF's not going to drop that title, so that in turn made this match have no special feeling to it. Am I wrong in thinking that?
You're not wrong. I also kind of feel like this year, AEW just kind of felt like, oh, it's Full Gear coming up, so it's kind of feel like we have to do the tournament. We've been doing the tournament for like the past few years, so it's like in the past, like Mox was the champion for a while. Kenny won the tournament, and that's when people were thinking like, oh, like Kenny could win, and he
Exactly.
eventually did. And last year, Danielson won the tournament. Hangman just won the belt, but like I kind of feel like people were already predicting like Hangman probably isn't going to lose to Danielson. Some
Mhm.
people were thinking maybe he could, because Danielson like just got into AEW at that time,
Right.
so people were maybe thinking he could have won. But this year, I mean, it felt very lackluster. Like nothing felt like built up. So
And like you said, it just felt like, oh, Full Gear is coming. We have to do this tournament. Tony Khan is a big traditions guy. And when he starts an AEW tradition, he kind of wants to keep that going every single year. Even if, like this year, it seems like they just did it to do it without a big plan, I guess you could say, of, well, we're going to do it this way to make it feel important. It was kind of just like, oh, it's Full Gear. We have to do this tournament. Let's just throw random guys in there. And that was the other issue. There didn't feel like it didn't feel like there was any major star in this tournament that you can be like, oh, they'll win the title eventually. Oh, maybe they do win. And the other thing that did hinder the tournament was MJF winning the belt and having to defend it against the champion so quickly. I think that was the other thing that did hinder the tournament, as far as, oh, well, they're not going to have MJF only hold the title for less than a month, or about a month. But as far as the match goes, I really liked the match. Like, nothing against the match itself. Starks was all taped up from all his different matches against Lance Archer, or first off, the beating from Lance Archer, then the match against Lance Archer, and then the match against Brian Cage. Page felt like he had it easy going and was kind of just easy going early on in this match. He started to go after the injured ribs of Ricky Starks and poured it on in the corner for about a minute or so. Starks tried a float over in the corner, but Page put on the brakes and punted the ribs. Page played to the crowd as Starks hit a desperation spear, but he couldn't capitalize on it. Page drove Starks into the barricade and the post on the outside and remained in control during the picture-in-picture break. Starks made a one-armed comeback and tried a tornado DDT, but Page hung him up ribs first on the ropes. Starks fought back and sent Page outside. As he reluctantly tried to do a dive, Stokely Hathaway would pull Page out of the way, which then led to the referee ejecting Stokely, saying, hey, you ain't getting involved. You didn't touch the other guy, but you helped your guy. Get out of here. They sang the goodbye song. The crowd did. Page and Starks then went up into the corner, and as Page tried an avalanche body slam, but Starks hit a superplex. There was a slugfest that ensued as Starks hit a swinging neckbreaker and a nice tornado DDT for a 2. Starks tried to go for the Rochambeau, but couldn't hit it as Page hit a power slam for a 2 of his own. Starks then avoided an Eagle's Edge, but Page missed a lariat and ate multiple spears from Starks before he picks up the victory. Starks is now the number 1 contender and will challenge at Winter is Coming on December 14th. Now, since Saturday in the chat says, well, Eddie Kingston was in the tournament, he could have been best suited to face MJF. No, I don't even think Eddie Kingston, right now, Eddie Kingston a year ago would have felt like a great challenger. Eddie Kingston now just felt like a dude. He just seems like, you want someone to have a solid match? Throw him in there with Eddie Kingston. But he doesn't seem like, right now, a top contender type of guy, just how he's been booked since the summer, early summer.
Or like Kingston during that Jericho rivalry. I mean, they made Kingston feel like a worthy like wrestler, but like now, like they haven't really used Kingston in a while.
Exactly. Right.
It's
Ever
kinda
since,
like, oh,
yeah.
we're not really using him, so we'll just throw him in the tournament to make it seem like we're using him.
Yeah, it's ever since the Jericho stuff, he just felt like, and that's why I said like early to midsummer or whatever, he just felt like a guy on the roster. He felt like a guy on the roster that they can put into matches if it's like, oh, we want this match to be really good, throw Eddie Kingston in it. But it's not like, oh, we need, we want to push somebody big, Eddie Kingston. You just don't think of you're getting a push when you think of Eddie, or they're going to get pushed when you think of Eddie Kingston right now. We go to the back, and they showed video of Jade Cargill confronting Bow Wow at his concert in Miami a few days ago. This actually took place Sunday night. Now, I'm going to be full transparency. I've seen the headlines of Jade Cargill and Bow Wow go at it on social media. I never read any of the tweets. I never read any of the articles about the tweets. So I have no clue what this beef is all about, like at all. So I'm kind of out of the loop. Renee Paquette's backstage. Go for it.
I don't even know who Bow Wow is, honestly.
Lil Bow Wow. You ever seen a movie Like Mike?
Yeah.
That's Bow Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's Bow Wow. Like Mike. Freaking Bow Wow and Jonathan Lipnicki. That's great. I love Mike, Like Mike. That movie's awesome. Then they tried to make a sequel with all different characters, and it's Like Mike 2 sucked.
It was basically just like him playing on an overseas team, not like an NBA team.
Yep. They kind of tried to, Like Mike 2, they just tried to, it's like the same movie, but they made it international, I guess you could say. But Renee was backstage with Jade and the baddies. Jade says that she's not giving any more clout to this, quote, whack-ass rapper. And also welcome back Red Velvet, who's been out with an injury. She said that she's thankful that Red Velvet was there with her. She also thankful that, she said, I got my TBS title back all by myself. No thanks to anybody else. And then here's where things get interesting. She goes, I need to bring in my legal counsel, Mark Sterling. Mark Sterling comes in and says a few words. And then Red Velvet's like, oh, we're going to have a celebration next week? Why not do it this week? And Jade's like, we need time to get everything ready. And so Red Velvet's like, oh, yeah, we need to go get balloons and cake and a streamer and this, that. We got to go. We got to go plan this party. And Jade's like, yeah, we got to. For some reason, Jade usually comes off pretty good in interviews. She felt more than ever reading lines. And so she goes to walk off. Kira Hogan goes to follow him. Mark Sterling's like, oh, no, wait. I need to sign this legal form. She's like, sign what? He's like, I just need to sign that. I need your signature right here. And she signs it. And she goes, and this right here is just from Miss Cargill saying that you did not live up to your end of the bargain as a baddie. Your services are no longer needed. Now, here's what I didn't like here. So they fire Kira Hogan because she was unable to get the title back for Jade. But what about Layla Gray? They keep Layla Gray. Yet, here's the other thing. Stokely is the one that brought Layla Gray in as a baddie. Jade, if we're going back into this storyline, never wanted Layla as a baddie anyways. But what? She's going to fire Kira and keep Layla? That was just a little odd to me.
One thing that did feel kind of odd to me was like in this interview, like Jade Cargill was saying like I did it all by myself with no help whatsoever, but thanks to Red Velvet for helping me. Like, doesn't that kind of defeat the whole purpose of
No.
like
So,
doing it without any help?
no. She got the belt back without any help. Red Velvet was there as backup at the Bow Wow concert. That's where Red Velvet helped out. She was backup at the Bow Wow concert, backstage or whatever. So that's where the whole Red Velvet thing comes. But it's just weird that they said Kira Hogan is fired for not living up to her end of the bargain as a baddie. Okay, but if that's the case, then shouldn't Layla Gray be fired as well? Especially since Jade never wanted Layla as a baddie anyways? I didn't get that. So let me go in. The AEW Trios match. Or the AEW World Trios Championships Best of 7 match number 2. Where they did tell us, whoever wins just gets a number on the record as far as the best of 7 goes. They're not going to do the whole whoever wins is the current champion. And then once we get to 7, who is calling me? Hold on, give me 1 second. Nope, I can call him back. So they basically said whoever wins the tournament or the best of 7 will then become the champion. It's not like every match you win, you hold the belt till the end and this and that. And here's the one thing I didn't like in this match. Too much, I guess you could say, referencing all the CM Punk stuff. They did stuff where they made fun of CM Punk. They did stuff where Kenny Omega did a GTS. They did stuff where Kenny Omega bit Pac. Like, this all came off very childish, very unprofessional, very just, and it's my opinion. I know other people might find it funny, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, stick it to CM Punk. No. I didn't like any of that stuff. Matt Jackson went for the best Meltzer, or no, what was it? The Indie Taker. And then he did the whole flip over the top rope and landed right on his butt, kind of like when Punk tried to go for a what's Hangman's move? Buckshot, and couldn't actually do the flip right. It's like, why are we doing this? Why are you guys making yourselves look stupid and immature? And I know a lot of fans probably find that amusing. They like it. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. I didn't like that stuff. I mean, we know why Kenny used the GTS. Shot at CM Punk. We know why Kenny bit Pac, because he got bit by Ace Steel in the brawl. We know why Matt Jackson did the, whoop, I can't do an actual flip off the ropes, I slipped. No. Stupid. Especially when Kenny Omega came out this week and said, oh, this is not about Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks against CM Punk. Well, when you got BTE and you highlighted the fuck CM Punk chants from Full Gear on BTE, where you literally stopped the music during your match montage just to emphasize the fuck CM Punk chants, yeah, it's still a little bit, we're salty over everything that went down. But the match itself, despite that, pretty good. The Elite did get some boos early on. Of course, they're in Chicago, CM Punk's hometown. And maybe it was because I was watching on the TNT app or the TBS app, but when they were coming out to the ring, I couldn't even hear their music. Was it the same for you?
Oh, I can hear the music.
Like,
I was just watching on like TV though.
Yeah. Like I barely was able to same for the Lucha Bros entrance. I was barely able to hear their music. And like it was like the crowd and well, it was just like the music track was turned down by accident or something. And then you had the crowd and the announcers a little bit louder. So that was weird because I was like, man, I really like the song. I want to hear the song. I could barely hear the song. I'm like turning my headphones all the way up and I'm like, nope, they turned it down. At least on the TNT feed or the TBS feed on the app. It just felt like the entrance music for both teams was low. As far as the match does go, Phoenix and Omega started it off, which actually plays off of the finish from last week where Phoenix used the hammer to pin Omega. They shook hands to start the match, but Omega then hit a very quick V-trigger. Very quick. So I'm probably going to butcher this name. QWAP in the chat says, I couldn't hear it. So yeah, so it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me. But he immediately goes after Phoenix and just knees him right in the face. The Elite then put the boots to Phoenix, and the crowd is just booing the crap out of them. Penta and Pac ate some double apron power bombs while Omega hit a sky high for a 2 on Phoenix. Everyone brawled on the outside until Omega mocked the GTS pose, but Phoenix cut off a Terminator dive with a somersault cutter that Omega landed square on his head. Phoenix hit a twisting dive on everybody outside as Death Triangle took over. There was a risky business combination as Omega and Pac had a quick series of reversals until Pac clutched his face to the floor. Also, Pac was wearing a face mask tonight because he legit broke his nose at the pay-per-view, but it wasn't bad enough to where, oh, you're not cleared to wrestle, but he had to wear the face mask. Nick promptly punted Pac to the floor. He kicked him right in the face. Matt hit a moonsault off the post to wipe out Penta and Phoenix as Omega hit a Kataru Crusher on Pac and isolated him through the break. Omega then bit the arm of Pac to give yet another reference to the brawl after All Out, as Penta got the hot tag and ran wild with some offense, as only he can with a series of DDTs. Phoenix hit a springboard Hurricane Rana on Nick while kicking Matt in the face, basically right after. Omega and Pac got back in the ring and went at it as the Chicago crowd started chanting, "This is awesome." There's a snapdragon from Omega as Pac's face mask was ripped off, and he ate a triple super kick for a near fall. Nick then wiped out Penta and Phoenix with a dive as Omega hit a picture-perfect V-trigger, but Pac avoided a one-winged angel attack. Omega then hit a GTS straight to the nose of Pac. Chicago kind of lost their minds a little bit, but Pac would kick out at 2. Phoenix bailed Pac out from eating a Meltzer driver as Phoenix did a tope. Matt then hit a low blow as Pac was handed the hammer by Brandon Cutler. But before he could use it, no, not by Brandon Cutler. I don't know why I wrote that. Not by Brandon Cutler. Why would Brandon Cutler? Oh, no, never mind. I wrote this all weird. Brandon Cutler handed the hammer to Matt Jackson. Before he can use it, Penta appeared behind Matt with his own hammer and laid him out. Pac stole the pin. So I wrote that weird. I don't know why I wrote it like that. But Brandon gave Matt a hammer. Penta then used the hammer. And Pac stole the pin. Fun match. Really enjoyed it. But there was all the CM Punk stuff. It just really took me out for a little bit.
So, two things. One, like when the ref kept looking down, kind of like looking at the hammer, first thing that came into my mind was like, oh no, they're gonna like do this thing again like they did in the past, where like they're gonna like restart the match again because they noticed like a disqualification.
I kind of thought that, but at the same time, I'm like, it's an AEW ref. They see shit happen and don't call it all the time, so it's whatever.
And like the CM Punk thing, like yeah, I do kind of agree. Like it was kind of unprofessional. Like I know some fans thought it was amusing because like there's some CM Punk haters out there. Like some people like probably started hating Punk after the brawl and stuff. But like, come on, like this is all just getting old. Just let CM Punk be.
Exactly. And then I see people online going, well, you know what this is? It's them just building up all these Punk references to when Punk comes back. And then it's Punk and Omega. Or Punk and one of the Bucks. No, that's not what this is going to be. I don't think CM Punk is coming back. Trust me. Punk has already been making jokes on, yeah, pro wrestlers don't want me in their locker room. He said it on the, what is it? CFC, whatever the MMA show he was doing commentary on. They made a joke, like the promoter or whatever made a joke going, hey, maybe next year we'll start a wrestling promotion and we'll have this guy lead the promotion, as he points at Punk, and Punk goes, oh no, pro wrestlers don't want me in their locker room. So yeah, for people also that keeps going, well, they're doing it because they're building up to Punk's return. No, I highly, and I'll eat my words, I highly doubt Punk's coming back.
Wonder what he's gonna do like after like he's completely done with AEW. I think he's still under contract with them.
Right.
I think they're still kind of working on that buyout.
Yep.
It's gonna be curious what he does next though. Because a lot of people are predicting maybe like WWE signs him to get under Tony Khan's skin. But I don't think WWE signs him.
I think there's, if you ask me what kind of percentage, I would say a 10 to 15% chance WWE signs him, if even that. But I just feel like he's still signed technically to AEW. They're going to do the buyout. They just got to figure out the non-compete. At least that's the word going around. They're trying to agree on a non-compete. And what he's going to do after, I think he's going to do more MMA commentary, go do more writing for Marvel, and then maybe some other things. But I wouldn't be shocked if WWE signed him, but I'm not expecting it, if that makes sense. So they then say, we have a big announcement. We're going to send it to Renee Paquette. Also very interesting. Saraya gets the big win at the pay-per-view, and no Saraya at all tonight. Barely any references, but Renee Paquette says that I have a big announcement pertaining to the women's division here in All Elite Wrestling. She states that due to the injuries suffered to Thunder Rosa and the uncertainty of when she can actually return to AEW has asked her, and the two sides have mutually agreed to Thunder Rosa relinquishing the AEW Women's Championship. Also, I don't know if maybe this is just her WWE side kicking back in, but every time she would talk about the title, she would just say AEW Women's Championship, AEW Women's title. Never said Women's World title. I don't know if maybe she's just not used to that because of WWE, or if they've actually changed the name, took the world off of it. I don't think they did. But she then says, now, give it up for the rightful AEW Women's Champion, Jamie Hayter. Also, later on in the night, after this upcoming tag match, Excalibur did note on commentary that due to Thunder Rosa relinquishing and vacating the championship, proactively they are going back, and in the record books, Toni Storm's reign as champion will be listed as an actual title reign and not as an interim championship reign. So all of that is negated. Toni Storm is now thought of as just a regular champion, but that's how I always saw it anyways. Yes, it had the interim word on it, but it's like interim title, real title, fake title. It's all scripted pro wrestling anyways. It doesn't make a difference. Interim, not interim, at least not to me. Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker would come out on the stage, and Britt Baker basically just stole all the shine here. Baker talked on Hayter's behalf and said that they've never considered the word interim anyways, and they would have never called Jamie the interim champion anyways. And then she told Renee to leave. Very interesting that they kind of put Britt over more than the champ, because Britt also is the one that got the pinfall victory in this triple threat tag match. So, and then they're like, they even said it during the match that on social media, it was because of Britt that got them into this match, that made it a triple threat. So it's like, oh, okay, I see where this is going. Britt Baker's going to steal all the attention off of the champion, Jamie Hayter, to where eventually Jamie's going to go, hey, I'm tired of this. I'm the champion. You're trying to get clout from me, or whatever you want to call it. We ain't doing any of that. And then eventually those two have a thing. That's what I think it's going to lead to, Jamie and Britt.
Did you also notice, like, during the segment, like, Britt just kept looking at the title?
Oh, yeah.
Like, where she, like, wasn't smiling. Like, she was, like, serious. Like, she looked jealous.
Oh, big time. That's why I'm like, either Jamie's just going to get fed up and go, hey, I'm the champion. I deserve, the shine here. Or Britt's just going to eventually turn on her and attack her and go, all right, where's my shot?
I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also kind of surprised they didn't even... Did they acknowledge Saraya beating Britt tonight?
I feel like I saw something, but it could have also just been... So, while I was watching Dynamite, I was also scrolling Twitter, and I saw a picture pop up from that match. So maybe that's what I saw, and they didn't even I'm losing my words here. I'm porky pigging it. They didn't even reference that match. Now that I think about it, I may have just saw a picture from the match on Twitter during Dynamite, and that's why I thought maybe they at least said something. But now that you say that, I mean, Britt never mentioned anything from the match. Renee never mentioned anything from the match. I don't think Excalibur on commentary ever mentioned anything from the match. Almost like, yeah, you're right. I don't think they did. Maybe I thought I saw or heard something just because during the show I saw a picture on Twitter. Yeah, I don't think they did. And no Saraya anywhere to be seen at all. So, nothing.
So it basically just kind of made it feel like kind of similar to the Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins rivalry. Riddle won, but Seth kind of got like the bigger like outcome out of it.
Very
like what they're doing with Britt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Saraya gets the big win, but Britt's the one getting the shine on TV. Britt's the one getting the attention. Britt's the one getting the possible next title shot. So, and I'm not saying I want Saraya to be the one to get the next title shot, because no, you need to build her up. But it's just like Britt just took a big loss. And I get it. They're not outright saying she's going to be the next challenger, and I don't even think she's going to be the direct next challenger. But I think she's going to be the next challenger that we would assume could beat Jamie Hayter. Like, whoever challenges Jamie next, I don't think takes the belt off of her. But I think once Britt does get that title shot, then Britt, it'll be like, oh, I think Britt can beat her. So, yeah. It is very weird.
I feel like you have to wait. You gotta wait though, because
build it up.
Like Britt just lost to Saraya. You gotta like wait like a month.
Yeah, you gotta build it up.
Like build it up more.
You gotta build it up to where Britt, like as you said, she kept eyeing the belt. But I think you gotta build it up to where you finally start to actually see the jealousy in Britt Baker. And then the other question would be, I guess I would say Baker, but who does Rebel align with? Jamie or Britt? I would assume Britt. But as far as this match just goes, a triple threat tag team match, no stakes, no nothing. It was kind of like weird how this match came together. As far as we get how it was supposed to be just a regular tag match based off of stuff that happened on AEW Dark with Sky Blue, Willow Nightingale, Ty Mello, and Anna Jay. But then all of a sudden they go, because at first I'm like, yeah, how does Britt and Jamie fit into all this? And Excalibur just loosely goes, well, these 4 women were going at it on social media, and Britt Baker decided to just jump in, and then she was added to the match. I'm like, what? Huh? That made no sense. I didn't see any of this on social media. And that's why sometimes when a match is made on social media, you got to give all of them context, because not everybody's reading everything on Twitter and seeing everything on Twitter. So it's kind of just like, I get it. Ty Mello and Anna Jay were attacking Sky Blue on Dark. Willow came out to make the save. Boom, there's your tag match. But then when you say, oh, we also added Jamie and Britt, why? Because something that Britt said on Twitter. Okay, well, what was that something? Like, he loosely said it, but in a way to, like, make it to where, like, made no sense. Like, he said kind of something on what she said, but I couldn't even really understand when he was trying to reference. Like, he made a reference to something that I didn't even know. And the match itself was just a match. Like, there was really nothing that really made me go, oh, I like that. It was kind of just like, it felt like, here's 6 women. We're all going to let them do some stuff. Well, that's about it. So Mello and Jay tried to get the early advantage with a double suplex on Jamie Hayter, but it was reversed and Hayter powdered both ladies. Baker then jumped in and took the fight to Mello with a sling blade, but Mello avoided a suplex and popped Baker with a punch. Baker then tagged Willow Nightingale, who ran wild on Anna Jay, and Sky Blue hit an assisted Cazadora splash. Later on in the match, Jamie Hayter saved Jay from taking a pin, as every lady took turns hitting a high-impact move before a code blue by Sky Blue. And Baker then broke up that pin. Jamie Hayter... where was I? Baker broke up the pin. Hayter and Hayter... Oh, I wrote this wrong. I put Hayter and Baker, but I think it was the Hayter Breaker. That's the name of her finisher? The Hayter Breaker?
I don't know, honestly.
Because I wrote Hayter
I have to look that up.
I wrote Hayter and Baker hit the move, and then like, oh wait, no. It was the Hayter Breaker was hit by Hayter, which then led to Britt hitting a curb stomp on Sky Blue and picking up the win. So Britt is the one that picks up the pin, not the champ. And so, yeah, they hug it out at the end, and there we go. That's also when Excalibur mentioned that Tony Storm's reign will be considered a regular reign. But it's like, it's just a match. Nothing special.
I mean, yeah, it was basically just a match and just kind of like teasing Britt versus Jamie Hayter.
It honestly felt like a Tony Khan gets criticism for not having enough women on the show, so let's throw 6 of them in one match, and there you go. That's kind of how it felt to me. So Renee Paquette was backstage with Top Flight and FTR. Dax Harwood said that he hopes Top Flight takes over the tag division over the next couple of years. As Darius Willing goes, well, if you want that to happen, how about we challenge you for the ROH tag titles this week on Rampage? And that match gets made official, and they go, whoa, what about the Guns, who have legit made a challenge as well and didn't get the match? Whatever. It's the ROH tag titles. Do they really matter? Kind of, because FTR has them, but not really.
Honestly, this match isn't really going to matter to me because, like, I like Top Flight, but, like, these guys just can't get a win together, though, honestly. So it's like, why are they getting a title shot?
Yeah, and you say this match doesn't mean anything to you. Like, what Dynamite match does, though? Like, I'm going to run down the Dynamite card right here. As far as this week's Dynamite does go, go for it. What did you say?
You mean Rampage?
That's what I meant, Rampage. Yeah. So it's Rampage, the Black Friday edition, which special start time, 4 p.m., 3 Central. As far as the show does go, the ROH World Tag Team titles will be on the line with FTR defends against Top Flight. The Workhorsemen's Anthony Henry will be taking on Darby Allin. Dark Order will be taking on the team of Roosh, the Butcher, and the Blade. Also, we do know that we will be hearing from the Ring of Honor World Champion in Chris Jericho, and Hikaru Shida will be in action. As far as next week's AEW Dynamite does go, 2 things have been announced. Match 3 in the AEW World Trios Championship Best of 7 match, Death Triangle, who is up 2-0 on the Elite. And we'll hear from the brand new AEW World Champion, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. They said that also more matches for next week's Dynamite will be announced this Friday on Rampage. Cool. I also think, and I didn't fully hear this because I was like doing something as they were running all this down. I think I heard Excalibur say something about that it's also airing live on the West Coast at the same time on Friday, but I could be wrong on that one. Let me see. Rampage West Coast. I thought I heard him say something about that, but I wasn't 100% sure. Let me see if anybody posted about that. Yeah, Rampage on Friday is starting at 1 p.m. on the West Coast. So it's live on both coasts at the same time. Well, as live as live can be for a show that's not actually live, that's pre-taped. But yes, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. So going forward, we had a absolutely nothing happening segment with the Acclaimed. Like, this was, oh, shit. We need to fill 10 minutes. Throw out the Acclaimed. Like, that was it. It literally, Tony Khan did the timing of the show and go, ooh, I got 10 minutes to fill. Acclaimed. Do a rap and leave. Like, that was it. The Acclaimed came out. They celebrated their title defense at Full Gear, along with Billy Gunn. I guess I didn't listen to the rap, but apparently, I guess he mentioned Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal sat him saying Jeff Jarrett or whatever, saying something about them. I don't know. I didn't listen to the rap. And I think he mentioned like Lethal and Jarrett as a team or something. And so they get down to the ring, and Bowens immediately goes, cut the music, cut the music. He's like, my shoulder's feeling a lot better. And then all of a sudden on the screen was Sanjay Dutt screaming, keep our names out of your mouth. Keep our names out of your mouth. And then Jeff Jarrett walks up and he's like, get that old bastard off my screen. Or he didn't say bastard, but he said something like, get that old guy out of my ring or something. And no, I take that back. He's made a joke about Billy Gunn, and Billy said, get that old guy off my screen. That's what it was. And then Billy confused Taz, where Billy grabs the mic and he's like, scissor me, daddy ass. And Taz is like, wait, ain't he daddy ass? Who's he calling daddy ass? I'm confused. And then they high-fived the crowd. That was it. It was like a 10-minute, nothing happening segment. Maybe it was 5. I don't remember. It just felt long and stupid and worthless. Pointless is the word I would use.
It honestly kind of felt like, like Tony Khan thinking like, oh, fans love the Acclaim. Fans love like the scissoring. So why don't you guys just go out there, do some scissoring and leave so they can get the fans hyped up.
Yeah, but not when it leads to nothing. But if this is leading to Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal getting a tag title shot after losing to Sting and Darby at the pay-per-view, oh, ain't that some stupid-ass booking. So then we go into our main event. It's the ROH World Championship on the line. Chris Jericho, Tomohiro Ishii, Bobby Cruise there to do the ring announcing, Ian Riccaboni on commentary. Ian Riccaboni did run down Ishii's accomplishments. Jericho did what no one should do against Ishii. He yelled at him and slapped him in the face to start the match. As a result, there was a slap battle that Ishii did end up winning before punting Jericho in the back. Jericho took the powder early on until a forearm battle commenced, with this one ending with a backdrop suplex. Jericho missed a code breaker while Ishii missed a ninjaguri. Both men collided off shoulder blocks and Jericho went down. During the entire commercial break, these two just continued to chop each other. I think it was the entire break. I saw part of the break on the TBS app, and then it cut to some random like Kia commercial and then a Papa John's commercial and then came back. So I didn't see all the break. But what I saw was just a bunch of chops from each guy. And then we come back and Jericho's bleeding. Like a lot of blood. They're like, there's blood on the hand of Tomohiro Ishii, but that's not his blood. It's Chris Jericho's blood. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we returned.
Because like
Go for
I
it.
looked, because I looked up, because like I was like, man, like how is Jericho even bleeding already?
Yeah.
I was like, he must have been just bloody like from like the commercials and stuff. Like they should have like aired that like without the commercials.
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying, but you got to get the commercials in there, and it's not like they knew that Jericho was going to start bleeding during that spot. Unlike the criticism they had in the first Blood and Guts match, where they did a lot of the big spots during the break, where that's fully planned out. You could have moved some of that, but I get what you're saying, though. We return to the sounds of a chop forever chant as Taz then compares the chest of Jericho to a raw piece of Kobe steak. Finally, Jericho switched to a clothesline in the corner. He went for some 10 punches, but Ishii powered out for a 2. Or he's power bombed him for a 2. Powered out and power bombed him. Both men were on the apron, where Jericho did a DDT on the hardest part of the ring, as they let us know, as Jericho then landed on his arm really awkwardly as well. Ishii, who has no neck, just popped right up, didn't even sell the DDT, and the slugfest continued in the ring. Each man then traded German suplexes until Ishii collapsed. Jericho hit a lion salt right on the face of Ishii, and Ishii got up a 1. Jericho then hit a code breaker, but Ishii again kicked out. Ishii avoided the Judas effect and delivered a headbutt flush as Jericho went down. There was a sliding lariat by the challenger, but Jericho kicked out. Jericho continued and countered with a brainbuster into a Walls of Jericho attempt, but Ishii countered into a code breaker and a home run lariat for a very close 2. Ishii then lit up Jericho with a forearm until Jericho shot a double leg. Got a Walls of Jericho, transitioned it into a lion tamer with a knee in the back as Ishii flipped Jericho off and then tapped out. So there we go. Jericho successfully retains the belt. Then after the match, Jericho's walking up the ramp and he stops and he looks over at commentary. And I don't remember who said it, but someone's like, oh, he's eyeing you, Riccaboni. He wants you. And Jericho throws the belt down and he starts like posing and looking at Ian Riccaboni like, I'm going to get you. I'm strong. And then like Claudio walks up, taps Jericho. Jericho turns around. Boom. He lays out Jericho, basically seemingly telling us it's Jericho versus Claudio for the title at Final Battle. Like, hopefully this is the final one. The final battle at Final Battle. Because it's like, how many times is Claudio going to get a title shot and lose? This is the third?
That's probably gonna be third. I mean, I feel like everyone kind of like expected this. It's gonna be Jericho versus Claudio, but I kind of feel like the build up this match was kind of weak because I've said this before in the past. At Full Gear, he should have done like the 6-man. Claudio pins Jericho.
Yep.
And then that sets up like a good main event for Final Battle. But now it just seems like they're just giving Jericho an opponent.
Mm-hmm. Oh, who's the big name that Jericho can go in there with? Honestly, I think Claudio beats Jericho at Final Battle. I think Claudio wins the belt.
Maybe.
And then I'm trying to see who actually like got beat at the pay-per-view. Was it Danielson in the 4-way? I don't remember. Trying to see back to. I don't have it here written down that I can easily get to really quick because I was trying to be like, because I don't think it was Claudio. Because if Claudio was the one that tapped or got pinned or whatever, then this would make absolutely no sense. But I think it was Danielson who got pinned. So yeah, Claudio once again gets a shot with no build, doesn't earn it, no nothing. It's just, hey, I'm gonna punch you in the face, seemingly saying I want the next shot. And I mean, even before Full Gear, I expected this to be the route they go, but I thought it was gonna be Claudio wins the belt at Full Gear, leading to Jericho getting his rematch at Final Battle. But that's not how it's going. Ish. Overall, that was a pretty good episode of Dynamite, though. So with that, as far as everything else does go, that's all we have to say about the show. Now I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you guys thought of tonight's AEW Dynamite. Remember, if you want to be part of the show, you can text in to 510-906-1341. Again, that's 510-906-1341. Let me know. Let us know what you thought of tonight's Dynamite. Let's pull that up. But before we get into all that, we got to check the polls. First off, as far as the Twitch poll does go, 50% liked tonight's Dynamite, 30% thought it was just all right, and 20% did not like it. As far as the Twitter poll does go, 54% liked the show, 31% thought it was just all right, and 13% did not like it. And finally, the YouTube poll, 64% liked it, 18% thought it was just all right, and 17% did not like Dynamite. From the comments here, first says, great show, main event with Jericho, looking forward to Final Battle. Was really good. This person also says, great show, happy House of Black is back. It says, Julia Hart gave me Undertaker vibes. Person says, Jamie Hayter is the undisputed Women's World Champion. Another person said, very fun show, 8 out of 10. And this person, another comment here says, well, this person says, very weak show. I mean, everyone's up to their own opinions. As far as the text messages do go, like we only got one right now. Oh, it's just, was the finish at the very end of the show to tell us that it's Jericho and Claudio? Yes, I'm 99% sure that's what that was. It's just to say a Final Battle, it's Jericho and Claudio. So that is going to do it. Wait. One more text message coming in. This person says, oh, I'm not even going to read this. Because this is the stupid shit that people have been saying on Twitter that we kind of referenced earlier. Ain't even going to read it. With that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited. I also want to say thank you if you're watching or listening later. YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, or podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. With that, guys, I'll be back Friday morning for the wrestling wrap up, and then Friday evening for SmackDown. And then this weekend, WWE Survivor Series War Games. So with that, guys, have a great night. Have a great rest of your week. Have a happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.